Dionisio at the plate. He's over 2 today. Swakowski, the big right-hander, lets it go. It's right down Broadway. Dionisio lets it fly, and it's raining now.
It's time for Rain Delay Theater with Jeremy Dionisio and Jack Swakowski.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rain Delay Theater, the show where two bums talk about other bums at baseball games. I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
And I'm Jack Swakowski.
This is episode number 309, and we are here to recap our trip to the Chicago Sports Spectacular for spring 2026, making our triumphant return to the Rosemont area, Donald E. Stephens Convention Center, for the second installment of the card convention in recent months. So yeah, Jack, we headed out there. The card show goes on over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Usually we're in the Friday boat, but this year, with my schedule and with the way things in the autograph schedule, we ended up going Saturday.
Yeah, so it was a little change of pace. We're always heading there in Friday rush hour traffic at like 5 p.m. So
Yeah.
it didn't take an hour and 15 minutes to get to Rosemont from the north side of Chicago. So that was good. Also a different vibe being there on a Saturday. It was a lot busier than it's felt on the Fridays we've gone to the November convention. So that was a bit of a thing, and just to kind of be there in the afternoon was different as well. So it was a different vibe going in.
Yeah, it was. We usually go on Fridays for the show, for the podcast, but I've usually find myself there on Saturdays and Sundays, frequently, just based on who I'm trying to get. So yeah, I've experienced it before. It Friday is a little more chill. But yeah, and then yeah, it's weird because it's like over by I don't know, 4:00 or something, I think, on Saturdays, Sundays. So yeah, that's a whole different ballpark. So I guess basically we you kind of met me, Jack, and I drove us pretty much from my place out to Rosemont to go to the convention center. We've talked before about the parking situation, where we park at this kind of pay lot by the CTA train, the Blue Line at Rosemont. At the Rosemont stop, there's a big park and ride situation, and it's $7 or whatever to park, and we have to make that treacherous walk down River Road to the convention center, which is always an experience in and of itself. But to speak to going on Saturdays in the past, this happened to me last year, and I didn't even think about it until the nick of time, I would say. I did catch it fortuitously, but we mentioned it was Saturday in Chicago. It was the Saturday of the St. Patrick's Day parade downtown.
Yep. Yeah. One of the worst, probably the worst day to live in Chicago. There's a couple of them. T-Box, which is a bar crawl that happens in Wrigleyville, is bad. Chicago Marathon is bad just because it's very inconvenient. There's a couple of them, but I think St. Patty's is the worst.
I'll throw one in too, just again for the sake of any locals. The Toys for Tots Day is also a rough one in Chicago, where there's for anyone who doesn't know about this, I don't know if Toys for Tots is a national thing. It probably is, so I'm just explaining what people know. But it's bikers donate toys, but they ride up Western Avenue. Which is the longest street it's one of the longest streets in the world, I think, or something. But they go from the south side to the north side. It's just a parade of motorcycles with toys strapped to their whatever. And I got stuck on the wrong. So if you have to cross Western during that time, it's impossible, and I've gotten majorly screwed by that multiple times. So that's another one. But yeah, so. This happened to me last year, where I actually pre-purchased my parking, and I went to the that lot. And so the thing about this lot is it's a park and ride. So people from the suburbs, this is what happens on this particular day. People from the suburbs come in, and they completely like CTA or whoever does it oversells this lot, and like all these cars are there trying to like fit into spots. They're parking on the sides of the like throughways, like the driveways, and it's bedlam, it's chaos, it's horrible. And last year I was able to buy a ticket, and then I tried to go in, and there was like literally no spots. And not only were there no spots, but like people, like I said, people park on each side. It's like you're driving down like a residential road. Like there's cars parked on the side of each side of the like drive through area. And so only one car can pass at a time. So I was like stuck in that lot for like 15 minutes, like trying to look for a spot and trying to like just get even out of it at some point. And so so Jack, we pulled up. I for some whatever reason I didn't pre-purchase it this time, but we pull up, and like that lot is like jam packed again. And I was like about to cross River Road to drive into the lot, and I saw it, and I was like, oh shit, like, and like I'm like, is it the parade today? And like, yeah, you confirmed that, and so we had to go to Plan B really quick.
Yeah, Jeremy, one last thing about the whole parade situation is that once those people park, they then go into the city not just to attend the parade, but then to drink at bars all day, wearing as former podcast guest, actually recent podcast guest Paul Turner called it. He said wearing fake Irish bullshit, which is a very Paul Turner thing, which I liked a lot. But yeah, it's just infuriating. But thankfully there is a heated lot. Well, it's not heated, but the walkway to the convention center is heated, which is attached to this lot, right by that. So we were able to. That was our plan B.
And you're being generous with the drink at bars, because they're drinking on the fucking streets of downtown. These like gallon jugs. It's called Borg, Blackout Rage, fucking gallon, Rage Gallon, Blackout Rage Gallon. And so actually there's one in my neighborhood. I saw one yesterday in my neighborhood. It's like, what the hell is one doing all the way up here? So it's just a shit show. And then if you go on social media, there's nothing but fights that people post, and it's like it's like fucking like suburban wise ass kids like getting in fights and shit. It's like they're fighting on the trains. It's just horrible. It's just the worst. So, but whatever. So yeah. So anyway, we were able to pivot, park in the parking lot, and it is better, but it's more expensive.
Yeah.
So we did that. We got a spot. I mean, the parking lot is huge and kind of annoying, but it's the parking garage, but it's it's just the same as anything. So, so yeah. So basically, we ended up getting a spot, walking through this kind of covered skyway sort of thing. So yeah, and then we got to the convention. When you go to the convention, you can pre-purchase tickets, but if you don't, you just walk through the line, and you have to buy the ticket at the window, at the gate. There's little like kiosks by the front entrance of this, in the convention hall, basically. Mm-hmm. So you buy your tickets, and it's cash only, and so that in and of itself is annoying. That got Jack last year, got both of us, I guess, really. But yeah, and so we did text the day before. I was like, bring cash. But yeah, so we get there, and like there's two sides. There's like a VIP side and like a regular public side, and the people on the public side were saying like, go to the other side, like you can pay cash there. And yeah, it was all ridiculous. There one side, like one area, it's kind of like a straight line to a person, and the other one is like a zigzag like queue to get up to a person to buy the tickets. So I was like the first one to make a beeline over to that side because they told us to, and I went straight in this one aisle directly, like it was like a direct path to a person standing behind the kiosk, like to sell tickets. And then like everyone behind us, like went through this like queue thing to get to the other people. And like, as it always happens, you get in like the worst line. We get to the front of the line, and like there's a woman there to sell us the tickets, but she's counting cash. Right. Yep. As like we get up there, and she's like 20, 25, 30, 30, 40, 50, 45, 50. And like, she's like counting like a lot of money. And like, I want to be like, hey, I really just wanted to make sure we were in the right spot and that they were going to sell us tickets because it still wasn't fully clear. And we had to wait for like a good, like at least a minute, I would say, like waiting for her to like, count the money. And that's fine. If she was in the middle of counting, it's fine. But I just wanted to make sure we were in the right spot because
She didn't even look at you.
no, because all these bozos are passing us and, I would say kind of cutting us. So yeah, I don't know. It was super annoying. And, eventually she kind of looked up at me at one point and was like, I'll be with you in 1 second. She said it like twice, I want to say. And then we kind of like looked at each other and then I think she finally got like the gist that we were kind of like getting a little antsy and she's like, just one more minute. And I said like at that point, I'm like, I just want to make sure we're in the right spot. Like we're trying to buy tickets. And she's like, then she goes like, are you paying cash? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, I can help you right here. And I'm like, well, what happened? It was just dumbfounding. I didn't know what changed in order to like make that, a green light.
Yeah, I guess I had never really thought about this before, but the whole system after you get the ticket is kind of weird too.
Yes,
At most conventions, you get a lanyard. I mean, you get one at Cubs convention. Every work convention I've ever been at, like they give you just a lanyard, a cheap lanyard. At this convention, they give you a ticket. They give you a paper ticket that's that's basically smaller than a game ticket that you used to get. It just says like admit one. But it's not one of those like little pink tickets that you get at a circus. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like a little piece of paper that says like, ticket. And so you get this ticket from the girl in this case, and she gives it to you, and then you take like 3 steps in the other direction, and then you give it to a guy, and the guy just like puts it in the garbage and lets you in. It's like, what? I don't get it. Why did we have to do that step? Why couldn't you just give her the money and then there's just like a turnstile and she lets you in?
Yeah.
The reason I complain about this, Jeremy, is because obviously that means that if you leave the convention for any reason, if you have to go back to your car or whatever, you can't get in. There's no way for you to prove that you were there because you don't have like a lanyard or something that just says, "Hey, let me in." And that this became an issue for me because we had to get up pretty early in the morning to go here, right? We arrived at like a little after 11 because we were trying to get Kevin Mitchell his autograph, and he was signing at 11:15. So I basically woke up and walked over to your neighborhood. So I was like, man, I kind of want to get some coffee. And they have a Starbucks downstairs in the convention center. But after we went in, I was shit out of luck. Like there was no way for me to go back out without paying for another ticket. So it was just, it was kind of it was annoying. It was annoying.
That's kind of funny. I was unaware of that. Okay, so Jack, this will be good to know for next time. They do give you a stamp.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. So
okay. Well, regardless, they sure were not obvious about it with me anyway.
Yeah, I think I've maybe done it before. There's been times where I've had to go to the ATM that's out there, but
sure.
I will say this though, you were spot on about the ticket entry exchange sort of thing. They give you this piece of paper and you literally have it in your hand for like 3 seconds.
Yep.
As long as it takes, as many steps as it takes to get to the guy. It's like, you have this ticket, and it's like, and you hand it off immediately. So that part is weird. It seems like maybe they could just have like 10 lanes of cash and you just, pay and then cut out them, the final step or something. I don't know, but it's definitely goofy. But I'm trying to think. Usually when you're trying to leave is when you get the stamp. You could get it, I think, when you walk in too, if you're gonna leave.
Okay, but, that makes sense. So you just check in with that guy or whoever, and you're like, all right, hey, I just want to go down and get some coffee real quick, or I need to run to my car, and they'll give you a stamp.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So but it is not clear or anything, or I will say this too, in your defense, a lot of times when that is the case, people they'll be saying get your hand stamped if you want it for reentry. They'll make an announcement too, and this guy's just sitting there like a bump on the log. Anyway, the whole all that was goofy, and so right away we were already exasperated, and we haven't even stepped into the actual convention yet.
No.
So.
So, well, thankfully, like we got there pretty much right on time.
Yeah.
I'd say we got there about 11:05, and Kevin Mitchell was due to start signing at 11:15. So we basically went right over to where you buy autographs, and I bought Kevin Mitchell and Chuck Knobloch, who was also signing, former second baseman for the Twins and Yankees. He's actually a four-time World Series champion, Knobloch is, so that's pretty good. I think he was doing free inscriptions, so that was a miss. I should have done that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think inscriptions were free with him, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Anyway, Mitchell and Knobloch were both $40, which is pretty low-hanging fruit. Jeremy, I think you did Mitchell, and actually you didn't even pay for McLean there, right? We can get that later, but
that's a little, that was a separate thing. So yeah, I just got Kevin Mitchell, and yeah, I was I was tempted to do an inscription, but I just got the ticket. So yeah, we get in the line, we buy our tickets, and then it's pretty much it was only just a matter of time, like a matter of a few minutes before they called our numbers to go in for Kevin Mitchell. And yeah, so Jack, both guys were signing at the same time. So Jack, they called, I think you had a lower number for Knobloch, I think. So you when you got into the actual autograph section, you had your choice. But yeah, it did look like more people kind of rushed in for Knobloch, so you would have been further back. So I think getting Kevin Mitchell first was the move, and so that actually ended up being fortuitous for me because I like poached some of your interaction with Kevin Mitchell.
Yeah. So sometimes you have something good to say to a guy. Sometimes you don't, and I honestly I've been kind of, anytime I've paid for an autograph, I guess I've been kind of shy about it. But at the same, I haven't paid for that many autographs. I think it was like Cecil Fielder and Bill Madlock are the two like signings I've done at these conventions. But that being said, even if you have something to say to a guy, you never know how it's going to land. Sometimes a guy will be really into it. Sometimes it'll be a Miguel Montero situation where it's like, hey, do you remember what you said? He's like, what I say? So yeah, just you never know. But so what I wanted to say to Kevin Mitchell, and this is in earnest, is that I felt like there was a really good 4-part documentary on ESPN about the '86 Mets. And he was a talking head in it, and I actually think that he was the funniest guy. And they were all characters on that team, but Mitchell came across really well, and he was also really funny too. So I just wanted to tell him, like, hey, like, I loved all your interviews in the '86 Mets documentary. Like, I thought you were the funniest one. So I mentioned that to him as I get up there. And he's like, he right away he's into it. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, hey, the director, he kept trying to get me to say bad stuff about all the players. He kept trying to get me to say bad stuff about Doc and Straw, but I'm not that kind of person. It's hard enough to play the game between the white lines. And so I thought that was pretty damn cool. Like just that he said, between the white lines, which was cool. And then he's like, they used my whole song. And there is a song called The Controllers by this group called The Controllers, called Somebody's Gotta Win, Somebody's Gotta Lose. And in the documentary, he's talking about the Astros versus Mets series, and he starts singing that song, and then the credits for that episode, like, that song plays. And so he was complaining that they used his whole song, which was funny. So yeah, he was just he was a pretty charismatic guy, but he was also like, he was into talking about that too. So it was a successful interaction. It was what you want.
Yeah, it was very cool, and he was cool about it. And like, he's just a cool looking dude. He had like kind of dark sunglasses on, and I think he's got like a gold tooth like in the front and stuff. And so he was just like kind of chilling and just like doing whatever. That documentary is called Once Upon a Time in Queens. It came out in 2021 on ESPN. So yeah, check that out. It made me want to, because I watched it back then when it came out, so it made me want to kind of like revisit it. Just to kind of see that again. But yeah, so it was cool. So yeah, he was, I was behind you. You went first, so you could jump to Knobloch's line right away. And so yeah, you had your interaction with him, and he was looking at both of us. So I felt like, drawn into the situation. And so yeah, so I guess you got him, and then kind of moved on to Knobloch. I said to him, thanks, Kevin, big fan. I wasn't actually going to say anything to him, but he goes like, are you from here? And I go like, yeah. He's like, it's cold, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cold. I'm like, and then I said, I don't even know. Like I said like, yeah, I am from here though. And I was going to say, you know, you didn't really take it easy on my Cubs in '89. And then he kind of was like, you're talking about the series. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then that was pretty much it. And I almost feel like, Jack, I almost felt like I killed the vibe a little bit. Because
Sure.
it's almost like he didn't really want to talk about baseball. Like he was more talking about like, you know, just like the fact, the like things that come along with it, like the documentary or something. And like, you know, he didn't have much to say about that. I went back and looked at his numbers, and he fucking crushed the Cubs in that series. He had a great series.
Did he?
I don't know how he didn't win MVP. Because I don't think he did. I thought Will Clark did, but I know Will Clark had like a big homer. But Will Clark was the series MVP. But Kevin Mitchell, let's see, he went 6 for 17. With 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and hit 353. Like, it doesn't get much better than that in a series. But yeah, Will Clark hit 650 for the series with 13 hits. So
is the series where Will Clark like said that he heard what Maddox or the manager were saying, like, or he read their lips, and that's why guys like cover their mouth now?
I think so, yeah, that could be because
Okay.
I remember there being some like. They just had the Cubs figured out. I can't believe the Cubs even won one game in that series. And that was very early on for me. Like, that was like my first like Cubs heartbreak as a kid, because that was like the earliest I could remember. And I was like, oh my God, the Cubs are in the playoffs. And then like the first game they lost 11-3 at home. So it was, the Giants fucking killed the Cubs in that series. So, Mitchell, I don't know. Maybe he thought I was like legitimately mad at him or something, but, I try to say it in a lighthearted way, but yeah, anyway, it was cool. It was definitely cool. He's definitely a personality.
Yeah, he is. So I got him, and I also got Knobloch too on a 91 Topps base card. It looks great. Mitchell has a really nice signature. So that was cool. I didn't do any kind of inscription, but his signature looks great. He signed it great. So I was really happy with how this one turned out.
Yeah. And, I was saying to Jack, I somehow got him to put his number on mine. So I got a little extra there. But it's funny because I was using pretty much like a brand new marker, and like his autograph did look a little fat on mine. And then when I would go on to get Denny McLain, which I'll talk in a little bit, use the exactly same marker, and it looks like 2 different markers. So
weird.
It's just about like how the guy signs it sometimes. But it was a cool interaction. I got him on a pretty cool card myself. I
went over to get Knobloch real quick. There was basically no line at that point. So I didn't have much to say to Knobloch, but like I did always like him as a kid. Both him and Kevin Mitchell, maybe more so Knobloch, because Mitchell had already started to kind of tail off at this point. But those guys are both in my wheelhouse, just like when I started following baseball in the mid '90s. It was cool to get Knobloch. I went up there and I just handed him the book with my card in it, and he just kind of looks at it and he goes, "Just sign it." And I said, yeah. And then he signed it. I think he was waiting for me to like ask him for an inscription or something. But I didn't think to do that, and he signed it. His signature ain't much. I'll say that. It's not a great signature. It really doesn't look like anything. I mean, you can see a C there, but whatever. That's about all it is. It's like a C and a K. And then it's he wrote his number 11 on it. If I would have had anything to say to him, I would have asked him about, I think it was the Twins public address announcer would always announce his name as Chuck Knobloch. And he had this really weird, like, high-pitched voice. And I swear, like, I don't know if that's just a fever dream, something I remember as a kid, or if it actually happened, but I wanted him to confirm if that was true or not, if he would remember it. But it was one of those things where I was like, maybe that's not going to go over well. So I didn't say it, and I just said, thanks. I've always been a big fan. And he said, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So whatever. I got the assignment done. I got the autograph.
Yeah, right. Did you go to a lot of Twins games as a kid?
No, I went to two.
Okay.
I think we went to the Metrodome twice when I was a kid. Before that, before that got torn down. So it is cool to be able to say that I saw a couple games in the Metrodome, and I do remember that too. So yeah, that was a long ass time ago though.
Yeah, I know it's a further drive for you. I have a friend who grew up in Iowa, and they would go to a lot of Twins games. So
Oh, nice.
a little closer or so, but it's again, I think we talked about it, but just like in recent episodes, but it's like, especially for me growing up like so close to Wrigley, it feels weird to like be in the mindset of someone who has to like travel to go to a game, especially out
Right.
of state. So I guess we'll find out soon with the Bears when they move to Indiana. But yeah, so okay, yeah, so that was cool. While you were in line for Knobloch, I kind of exited out, and I ran into a friend of mine, this guy Sam, and he's I think we've talked about him before in previous episodes,
Yeah.
but he travels. I think he's from Connecticut, and he like travels to all these card shows. I think maybe Chicago's the furthest west that he goes, but he's like at the Philly show in Philly, the Detroit shows, and then definitely everything in New York, and just gets tons and tons of autographs. And so I was talking to him, and he told me, I don't know if he said too much of it. He was talking to me a little bit, and then when you showed up, I told you, but he was telling me that at the last show that he was at, that Kevin Mitchell was also at, like he drove Kevin Mitchell to the airport, I guess, which is crazy. And he also told me though, like I was trying to follow the story, like he drove him and like his agent or something, but like one of them was flying out of JFK and one was flying out of LaGuardia, and like those airports are, they're kind of close to each other, but they're not really that close to each other, and it's like,
Yeah.
I think he probably was just doing it just, because like they asked him to, and like it's a baseball player, but like I'm like, that's a long ass drive. I don't think I would do that for a baseball player, even if it meant to like hang with him for a while. But
No, well, you think about it, Jeremy. I mean, I don't know where Kevin Mitchell lives in New York, but an Uber to the airport could be $50 to $100. It's like that's 2 autographs he has to sign. He might as well
Yeah.
just get this guy to drive him for free.
that's true. I would ask for a couple extra items signed.
Yeah,
I
right.
guess. But yeah. So yeah, and then we were talking to him, and then we were like kind of trying to move on to our other business. And I spotted another guy, not someone that I know personally, but a guy that I've seen on social media. His name is Chris Ace. I don't know if that's his real last name, but it's ASE. And he's on Facebook. Maybe he's on TikTok too, but he's not on Instagram. I don't think. I did a quick search, but I know him from Facebook. But he goes to all these shows as well, probably just as many as Sam does. But he gets starter jackets signed. And I don't know if anyone out there has like, this guy has popped up on their algorithms. He seems like he's kind of like, his account is getting like shared a lot and popping up on a lot of people's feeds. But I saw him at the show in November, and me and I think maybe even that Sam guy were talking about him, and then he started popping up in my feed, and I've kind of been following his videos since then. And Jack, did you look at his stuff too, or
Well, I'm not on Facebook, but you did show me the picture of the thing he got signed at the show we were at a couple days ago, and it looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, I couldn't remember because he posted videos too. He uses like Meta glasses, those Ray-Ban Meta glasses, whatever. But yeah, so like yeah, he's it's good to watch his videos because he has good interactions with the players, and I told him as much when I met him. But yeah, so they're just kind of fascinating to see, and like I will say his stuff comes out really nice.
Yeah.
So he's getting these like old school starter jackets signed, and he'll get them signed by like he'll have like a, he got Denver Broncos. He had a Denver Broncos one, and so he got John Elway, but he also got I think it was Rod Smith who was there, and Ed McCaffrey I think were both there. So he got all 3 of them on the jacket, and then he'll take it to the next time and get like Carl Mecklenburg or whatever, some other Denver Bronco. But then he'll do like University of Miami, and he got like Ray Lewis, like Rick Barry, maybe. Did Rick Barry go to University of Miami? Like he'll do like
The old basketball player?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, actually he did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So and then like another you guy. So yeah, he's got a good collection, and like his videos are entertaining, and you get to like kind of see these guys interact and stuff. So he posted one. I meant to say this to him in person, or like when I met him, but I forgot until afterwards. But he got this guy Drew Pearson, who was like on the Cowboys. I can't remember if he's a safety or like a D-back or a receiver. I think he might be a receiver, but he's an older guy. He played in the 70s, I think, and just before my time. But he got him to sign something, and I think it was a Hail Mary. That's why I think he's a receiver. But like he like caught a big Hail Mary, and this Drew Pearson guy goes like, "You weren't even alive yet, homeboy," which is pretty funny. So yeah, it's kind of fun to see his interaction. So I said hi to that guy, and connected with him on Facebook and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if there's any sort of like, I don't know if there's any like, connections enough for the podcast, but I'm sure we will run into him again at some point. Yeah. So
yeah, I would be actually interested to know where he gets all these starter jackets from. They can't be cheap. They look cool though. So, when I was a kid in elementary school, 3rd or 4th grade, in the mid 90s, starter jackets were hot. Like everybody wanted one. I think I had maybe a Charlotte Hornets one, probably eventually a Packers one too.
Okay.
So yeah, I did have at least one starter jacket. So yeah, they were cool. And they're they look super retro now. So there's a guy at work who wears a Denver Broncos starter jacket, the same one that this guy had. It looks awesome. And so, this guy was getting Elway on this starter jacket. And, Elway was a pretty penny as well. But it turned out perfect. I think he used a silver marker on the blue jacket. Looked great.
Yeah, totally. And so like, yeah, if you go to his if you find him, like I said, Chris Ace, ASE, not that we have to promote his social media, but the videos are cool. And yeah, that's funny, Jack. We've never really, I don't think starter jackets have really come up with us, but
did you have a starter jacket when you were young?
I did. I got a San Jose Sharks jacket.
Okay.
And I got one of the satin ones, like the ones that's like shiny satin, and it only had the one like logo right on like the left like breast side.
Yeah.
I got it, and then like there was word around or like for real it was happening, like kids were getting jumped for their starter jackets, and man. I wore it once, and then I was too afraid to wear it again. And like my mom spent a good fucking amount of money on that jacket, and I just like only wore it. I literally wore it once, and never again. And then like, I don't know what happened like to it at some point. Like it actually, I had it for years and years, and like I was looking for it not recently, but maybe like 5 years ago or something, because I probably could sell that jacket for like 3 or 4 times what my mom paid for it back in like 1991. But I don't know. It's gone. I don't know what happened. I had some painters back in the day steal stuff from me, so like maybe those guys snagged it or something. But yeah, it was it was really cool. And I was even looking to get another one. But yeah, it's just.
Have you looked at prices for starter jackets? I haven't, so I'm curious if you have.
I mean, I wasn't being whatever inflammatory by saying like 4 times. Like I think like that jacket probably, I think if I wanted to buy that an authentic one, and that's if I could even find it in my size, I think I saw like $350 or something.
Yikes. Okay. So, wow. Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I like the bomber jackets that the baseball guys wear now, but I don't think that'll ever catch on as much as the starter jackets did. Yeah,
every once in a while they have a cool one. I think maybe last year, I think I did like the ones that the Cubs were wearing last year at the beginning of the year. But yeah, maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was Council's been managing the Cubs for 2 years now, right? I think it was 2 years ago, because I think it was right when he started. But yeah, those are cool. I remember too, Jack. This is a whole other story that maybe we can get into sometime. But Connor O'Malley, the comedian actor, we used to run like into him at old theaters that we were a part of.
Yeah.
He used to wear a Bears starter jacket. I remember that like he
Did he
wore
really?
that all the time. Yeah, like the old fashioned satin one. And I was always kind of like, man, who does this guy think he is? Like having this like vintage starter jacket. But yeah, I bet he probably still has it. I don't know, but
Yeah, probably. Well, that's funny because I just forwarded you a video of his like 3 days ago. So
Yeah.
speak of the devil, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, that was a cool interaction, Jeremy. I'll have to look for that guy's videos now.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for some reason he doesn't have an Instagram, which is odd, but yeah, as far as I could tell. So anyway, so after that, we kind of split off, and I went over to what they call the forward area, which is just like some like tables, kind of just on the side, like near the autograph area, but not in the main, section where everybody else is. And Denny McLain was there, former Cy Young, former MVP, World Series champion, 31 game winner in 1968, Denny McLain. So he was a part of the 68 Tigers. So I wanted to get him. Okay, so like Denny McLain has a spotty past.
Yep.
Is like a simplified way to put it. He did serve some jail time for some of his indiscretions. So, you can go ahead and look into all that, but most of it was like business related things or, shadiness connected to that. So anyway, but he's a 68 Tiger and obviously like an all-time pitcher, had a really like amazing run for a couple years, just a short window, but still. I've mentioned John Warden, former pitcher for the 68 Tigers, who I've met through mutual friend from the show The Floor. Well, not a mutual friend, it's his daughter. But yeah, so I've met John Warden, and he was teammates with Denny McLain. And so, I felt like I could probably get some good stories from McLain because of Warden. So I went up to him. I got the autograph. It was free inscriptions, which was really cool. So his autograph was $30, and I guess I could have got whatever I wanted. I didn't want to be greedy, and I didn't want like to overcrowd the card with inscriptions. So he signed it. I asked him. He's like, "What do you want? You want an inscription?" And I'm like, "Yeah. How about your record from '68? Because I've seen that he does that a lot." So he inscribed it 31-6, 1968. So pretty cool. Maybe I should have got World Series champs or whatever, but in 1968 he was the Cy Young, the MVP, and World Series champ. So it's like, how do you pick one over the other? I don't know.
Right.
It's crazy. And that year obviously will never be recreated again, never duplicated.
No.
It was the year of the pitcher, but still pretty damn impressive. Just kind of mind blowing a little bit. So yeah, so he signed for me, and then I just want to say, like I said, Mr. McLain, I just wanted to say, I'm friends with John Warden's daughter, so I've gotten to hear a lot of stories about the 68 Tigers from him, and he's like, oh yeah, I was just texting with John, and I'm like, yeah, he's told me some great stories, and I'm like, he told me the Gates Brown hot dog story, and Denny McLain goes, everyone's stealing my fucking stories. Which is really cool. And yeah, McLain's, he's an older guy. I think he's like 81 maybe. And he's an older guy. He's kind of just sitting there, kind of just, he's kind of like, he's a big guy, and he's kind of just sitting there, and just, he looks a little curmudgeonly, like just, but like, he's just an older guy, whatever. And the guy's been through a lot, in his life. And so, yeah, I'm like, oh well, yeah, I don't know. And he had a handler with him. I don't know if it was like his son or just a business partner or whatever. And he's like, oh well, what's the Gates Brown hot dog story? I don't know it. And McLain, like, I look at McLain, and McLain looks at me, and I'm like, well, hey, I'm not gonna tell the story. Like, you're right here. I'm not gonna tell the story. And then McLain just like, he's just staring forward, kind of like hunched over, and he goes like, go ahead, tell the story. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so I told this, I told the Gates Brown hot dog story, which is, now it is on his Wikipedia page, and there is a video of Gates Brown telling this story online. So, McLean kind of gatekeeping this story maybe isn't, super apt, because it is out there.
Yeah.
But basically what happened, Gates Brown he was mostly like a pinch hitter. And it's like the middle of the game. I think it was like early in the game or something. And Gates Brown didn't think, like, if he was going to get in the game, it wasn't even going to be for like another couple innings or so. So he went like to the clubhouse, I guess. And like, he got a couple hot dogs to eat. And this was pretty cool. Like, as I was saying it, like, as I'm saying this, like, McLean is kind of like chiming in here and there. And he goes like, yeah, he's like, he would do that. He would, get a couple. He'd always get like 2 hot dogs from the clubhouse or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. So there you go. And so like, he had these 2 hot dogs, and he was just about to eat them. Like, he dressed them up with like ketchup and mustard, and he was just about to eat them. And then the manager of the Tigers, Mayo Smith, goes like, hey Gates, grab a bat. Like, we need you to take an AB. And Gates was like, obviously totally thrown off by that. And he had these 2 hot dogs all loaded up, ready to go. So he didn't know what to do with them. So he just shoved them inside of his jersey, like just in the like stomach of the jersey. And so he goes up to take an at bat with these hot dogs stuffed in his jersey, and he says in the video, he's like, he was never hoping more to like strike out than this time, but I guess they laid one in there, and he hit a double into the gap. But he has to like race into second base. So he runs to second, and he like has to dive head first, to beat the throw. And, he dives in, he gets up to his knees, and he looks down, and his jersey's just covered like red, just smeared like ketchup and like hot dog, like, whatever, in his jersey. And he's like afraid to get up because everyone's going to see these hot dogs. And I'm like, yeah, so I guess he kind of like was trying to hide it. And McLean goes like, yeah, he was turned away from the infield, and he was only facing third base. So only the third base the third base umpire could see this. And he looks at him, and he thinks like Gates Brown's like bleeding to death, because he's like, his whole stomach is red. And he gets up, and he has to like, fess up to it, like accept it. And he has to like, get in position to run the bases. And like, everyone can see that he's got like this like ketchup and hot dog all smeared on his jersey. And so he ended up coming out of the game. When he came out of the game, Mayo Smith fined him $100, like in kangaroo court, for that incident. So it was awesome. I mean, it's like, it was crazy to tell that story in front of a guy who was actually there to witness it.
Yeah, that's an oddity.
It was nerve wracking for sure. So yeah, I just said, well, anyway, McLean, and yeah, he was like, I was saying like, a lot of guys on that team don't get their due. And he's like, yeah, there's only 4 of us left. And it's like, I can't believe it. And he's like, but you're right. They don't get their due. And, it was one of those things where it's like, it was almost like, all right, like, I'm good with this exchange. Like, we can move on here. So I think I just said like, well, Mr. McLean, it was really, nice to meet you and everything. And he's like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I told him I was a teacher. Maybe he was hoping I was like into more like business ventures, but he's like, well, here, take my card if you ever need anything. So he gave me his card, and I don't know, pretty cool exchange.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. I should have just thrown down the $30 to get him, but his cards are a little bit they're not hard to come by, but it is hard to come by one that's actually in good condition, just because he played so long ago. But I did see here on his Baseball Reference that he's from Chicago. So,
yeah.
Maybe he comes to these more often than not.
Yeah, I could see him like maybe coming back again, or doing another, maybe even like a local show would be, like a smaller local show would be cool. Yeah, it looks like he does live in Michigan, but yeah, I think he, he's close enough. And like, honestly, if we can ever get to a game with John Warden, that would be awesome. And like, maybe McLean could be there too, or so, I don't know, but yeah, that would be the dream. But yeah, man, I was thinking like, I thought you would come with me or whatever, just because I knew that he was gonna like, I was pretty confident that we would have a pretty cool exchange. So
Sure.
so yeah. So anyway, it was, that was more than I could have asked for, and I guess he's got a checkered past, but I don't know. The people I've read, like people who defend him, like is kind of like he kind of tried to make everything right that he did, like in these business dealings. So I don't know about all that, but it was a cool exchange. So
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Almost 82 years old too. He'll turn 82 in about 2 weeks.
wow.
Yeah. Well. So I think we're basically done with the autographs at that point. So Jeremy, you had wanted to get a few top singles. I was debating getting a box. Ultimately decided not to, just because the prices were a little higher than I wanted to pay after just dropping a little money for autographs. But yeah, you ended up getting some singles.
Yeah, I was trying to complete my 2026 Series 1 set. So there's this one seller that has those. And they last, Series 1 wasn't out yet, but I was looking for Heritage, I think, and he didn't quite have it yet last November. But I knew he would have Series 1 by this point. So I was able to complete most of the set. I got a good stack of cards, and like the guy was kind of counting them up to see how much I owed, and I was thinking maybe it was gonna be like $6 worth of cards. It was like 20 something cards, and he like said $8, and I'm like, it was the Otani, wasn't it? Because I needed an Otani. And he's like, yeah, that was $2. So I think they were about like a quarter each, but the Otani was $2. So
Okay.
but it was kind of funny. Like I knew that one was going to cost me. So
Sure.
But yeah, so that's huge. I mean, it sucks. Most people don't build sets anymore, so it's really hard to find guys who sell singles. You usually have to, like, if anything, you have to order them online. So it was a relief to be able to kind of complete that. So for the most part, so that was cool.
Yeah, sure. And then we saw Ronnie again too. He's
Yeah.
always there. He always seems to have the same spot. So most of these guys seem like they're usually in the same area. I don't know if you have to pay a certain amount to get a primo spot, but yeah, we did see him. Had a little bit of an interaction with him. He still seems like he's in the same place where he's at Harlem most of the time, but he comes up to his store on Montrose too. He made a reference to his buddy too, who works there, right? Is that the guy he was talking about?
I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, because he's like, yeah, he's mostly at my store on the north side, but like, sometimes I gotta be there too, like he kind of badmouthed him without badmouthing him, which was funny and maybe well deserved.
And he made a face. I mean, so it was basically like a 4-month removed version of this last conversation we had with him about the guy who screwed up and kind of was not very helpful to the social media guy. Like this guy Brian Pirup, who came in, was doing a video, and the guy was like not super helpful to him at all. And so it was kind of like Ronnie. It was kind of like this a version of that story. I was trying to like get him. I was trying to talk to him too, and I was like wheeling and dealing at this convention for some reason. But there's a player, Noah Murdoch. I think I mentioned him like even last episode or something. He does videos. He has a good social media presence. He's a pitcher for he's for the Pirates right now, but he's doing like a lot of videos where he's ripping cards and everything. And he's trying to find like local card shops to do rips, like these rip videos at when he's in town. And so I wanted to kind of broker the deal between Ronnie and him, like if he's on the team when the Pirates come to town. And I feel like Ronnie talks so much about the store situation. He was a busy guy. He's busy. There's a bunch of people kind of coming up to him. So I just wanted to like kind of like address that real quick. And like by the time like we got to that, he was already like going to like talk to someone else. So he's like, yeah, that'd be fun. And then he like just ran over to somebody who was like, trying to look at something in his case. So it was kind of like a non-accomplishment. Like we only kind of broached the subject. So
yeah, there was some guy right next to us too who was looking at soccer cards, I think.
He was trying to buy a Messi card or a Ronaldo card, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that was we ran into Ronnie as usual. And then Jeremy, we started looking at some old cards, which was kind of neat. So there was this one guy he had a case. The cards were ungraded, which seems rare for old cards that are kind of going for a lot of money. And it was kind of neat to look at this guy's case because while they were ungraded, certain cards were astronomically more expensive than others. He had a Reggie Jackson on sale for almost $24,000. Because Reggie Jackson rookie, I should say, it was a Topps rookie. Probably because we were talking about because it would grade well. And he had some other cards too. Clemente's, any kind of old card you could want. But you don't own a Mantle card, so you were looking at getting one.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like just I was looking to just see what because I'm not crazy about all the graded stuff. Like I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast or not, but like everyone's all like up their butts about grading cards and everything, and like when I got back into cards, I did buy a lot of old like vintage cards. So I have a card from every year of Topps, which was kind of like one of my projects to do. I was trying to get a card of everyone in the 500 home run club. And so that'll come into play in a minute. But, like to me, I think it's when you look at a card that's like 50 years old or fucking more than, 70 years old or whatever, like I don't want it to look like it just came out of a pack. Like I want it to look 70 years old, I don't want it crumbled up into like a ball or something, but like if the edges are a little creased or edges are a little worn, or if there's like a little crease or whatever, like to me that like adds like authenticity to the card. So like I'm not so someone would pay like $20,000 for a Reggie Jackson rookie card, but it's like you could probably buy that card for like $100 raw, and it's like I would rather have the raw one, honestly. I mean, it's all about business and shit and like whatever, but like I have like I have a card of everyone in the 500 home run club. The old guys are like a little bit of an asterisk. I have a Babe Ruth card, but it's from 1961, and even that card has gone up in price, but it has a little pinhole in it. But like I don't know, that's cooler to me. So the only card I didn't have, the only guy in the 500 home run club that I didn't have is Mickey Mantle. And like his cards are, they've gone up in price, and I definitely missed the window to get in for like somewhat cheap. When I say like somewhat cheap, I would say like $40 and under. But this guy did have like this, I think it's 1962 game card. So it looks like a playing card. If you've looked at baseball cards before, I'm sure you've seen them, but it's kind of just like his head cut out, and then like it says like single. It was like a game, like a deck of cards that you would play some kind of game with your friends, and it's from Topps, so it's a Topps card, but it's a Mickey Mantle card, and it's not like a regular base like flagship card, but it's like insert type of thing, or an oddball. And so but I got it. It was affordable. So anyway, it was just cool. I got a Mantle. I talked to the guy. I went by there a couple times asking this guy some questions, and then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I finally came back the third time. I don't know if you did you witness our exchange, Jack, with the Mantle card?
Didn't he say that he only got that card in a couple days ago?
Yeah, he's like, I had this card for 3 days or whatever, and there we go, like there it goes or something. So like I was like, yeah, and that's how these things work. Like, maybe he got that. If it was 3 days, maybe he got it from someone like the night before the show started. But people buy stuff and then they sell it right away. So like, ostensibly someone could have come in and sold that card to him, and then he just like flipped it real quick. But
yep.
But I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, I don't have a Mantle card yet. So he's like, you don't have, he's like, so you were just looking for a Mantle card, like, any card. And I was like, yeah, mostly. Yeah. And I'm like, but I think this game card is cool. He's like, yeah, well, it's cool. And it's affordable, and it's cheap. So like, I don't know if he was like down talking it or what, but I mean, like, I'm not going to spend $200, $10,000, like, 40, the card was like $45, I think. So
yeah,
I deemed that to be a good price for any sort of Mantle card. So yeah, anyway, I picked it up, and now it's, got them in the collection.
You know what's weird, Jeremy, is when I was a kid, I went into a card store and I must have been 9 or 10 years old. And I asked the guy working there, I said, "Do you have any old cards?" And he says, "How old? Like Mantle?" And so that was probably, you know, if I was 10 years old, that was probably 30 years ago at this point, right? So it was 95. And I mean, Mantle's last season, so 30 years ago from 1995, but 1965, I think Mantle retired in 68. So if you think about that, like when I was a kid, Mickey Mantle's career seemed like ages ago. I mean, a kid who's like 10 years old now, and be like, you know, if he asked, "Do you have any old cards?" the guy might say like, "You mean like Griffey?" Because like, you know, Ken Griffey Jr.'s prime. I mean, yeah, he retired in 2010 or whatever, but his prime was 1995, 96, that era, right? So that just shows you how much time has passed since like we were kids. That like guys who played when we were kids probably seem like Mickey Mantle seemed when we were kids. You know,
it's like movies. It's like movies or music too. They say like, you know, it's like when like, you know, Nirvana was like the first big band for me, and it's like the time from like Nirvana to like the Beatles.
Yep.
Is the same as like NSYNC or something is to now. Which is just, it's like stuff like that. Like they've, you know, there's other ones like that, but it's like, it's crazy to think about. It's like, yeah, like stuff that you thought was like so old when you were a kid. Yeah. Just is NSYNC now.
Yeah, I guess it makes you feel old, but also I don't know. But it's, you know, it's cool that maybe that's how Mickey Mantle seemed to adults back then. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Just like Griffey seems to us now. Although of course you still have idiots at these shows who like slow roll a Griffey card when they're opening it up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that was cool, Jeremy. It's nice that you were able to get that card. And I think that was basically the last piece of business that we had at this convention.
Yeah, it was time to get out of there because, you know, the longer you stay, the more money you spend. So,
yeah, hell, you might have even bought another thing after that. I can't remember. Oh, we both bought like some accessories too for our cards.
Yeah, and I picked up a couple heritage relic cards. That was before the Mantle, but I did get a nice deal on those. So that was nice. But
yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was it. So we kind of called it a day. I mean, like, yeah, it's weird. I mean, it felt like we were there a long time. I guess you were saying that it was the equivalent of what we usually do on a Friday, but I've also been there like way longer than that too, just like depending on how the guys I'm trying to get autographs from are spaced out. But sure. Yeah, it was a long day. You know,
it was. Yeah, I think we were there for 2.5 hours. Was about the calculation. Yeah, we walked back to the car. And I guess the punchline to the whole parking thing was, I think it was like you paid for your ticket, but nobody actually took the ticket at all when we left. Like the gate just went up and we could drive out.
Yes.
So that was weird.
It was, yeah, it was weird. Yeah, like I had like a little receipt thing with a QR code on it or whatever, and like I usually have to like tap that on the way out to raise the arm to drive out, and like I approached the thing and the arm just raised, and I was like, okay. So like, yeah, I think in retrospect, probably didn't have to pay at all, but we still ended up splitting it. So you know, that was cool. But yeah, it was goofy. It I would say it's inconclusive, but it seems very clear that I didn't have to pay, but whatever.
No, yeah, maybe there was some infrared like scanner that read the QR code that we couldn't see or something. I don't know.
Like through my windshield or something. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah,
right.
Who knows?
But yeah, anyway, so we got out of there, and I guess we might do the National this year, but if we don't, the next convention we do will probably be in November when the Spectacular comes back.
Yeah.
Baseball season does start in 10 days. We're recording this on Monday, March 16th, and the home opener for the Cubs, and I think the opener for baseball in general is March 26th. Jeremy, it's a little weird to think that there's going to be baseball in 10 days when we got a nice snowstorm today, and now it's about 20 degrees outside, so you wonder how it could possibly be warm enough at all to play baseball, but I guess it's inexorable. Either way, it's going to happen. So that'll be season starts in about a week and a half.
Yeah, super frustrating to have snow come in this quickly. Like when it was like, or this, late, and it was like, six. I think it was like 70 at some point. Like
Yeah.
definitely in the 60s. Like maybe like just a couple days before that. And yeah, it's like hey, can it please be 60? I'll even take 50 like on opening day.
Sure.
But like yes, because I will be there, and then we'll be there the Saturday after that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there March 28th, so that's there's not much time for it to warm up. So hopefully it does at least a little bit.
Yeah, hope it does. But yeah, we have a couple games already, like tickets for a couple games. So yeah, it'll all be like happening for real soon enough. By the time this episode drops, the World Baseball Classic will be over. Venezuela just came from behind to beat Italy. So that was I was kind of watching it here in the background. That was kind of exciting. But yeah, it's been an interesting tournament, and yeah, we'll see who ends up winning, U.S. or Venezuela.
Yep.
And then then the real baseball starts soon after, so should be exciting.
Yeah, I think the big question is, who is Mark DeRosa going to bring in to give a motivational speech for the championship game. So yeah, we'll
yeah, well, whatever. But yeah, exactly. I missed the opportunity to say we've punched our ticket to that Saturday Cubs Nationals game. Oh well.
All right. Well, we I think that's gonna wrap it up for this one. But I think we'll probably have maybe one more episode before opening day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So for this one, though, I am Jeremy Dionisio.
I'm Jack Schakowsky.
We'll talk to you later.
Adios.